All right, fifth graders, now that you've completed lesson 2, we're going to move on to lesson 3, and we're going to make things a little bit more complicated. Not a lot, just a little tiny bit more complicated. But again, the same steps apply. So let's look at those. We still have our same 3 rules of algebra. We still have step 1, which is collecting. We still have step 2, which is isolating the ends. And we still have step 3, which is just one end. So those 3 steps are not going to change. What is going to change is just a couple of ways that we tackle numbers. So let's go over those. All right, I'm going to show you something a little bit tricky. I have a problem here, which is 6n minus 8 equals 22. Doesn't look particularly complicated, but once we get into it, you're going to see why it's a little complicated. So on the very first step, we don't need to collect. There's nothing to collect here. I already have a pile of ends, and I already have a pile of not ends. So I'm fine there. No need to collect. And sometimes that's the case. Sometimes we won't need to collect. Sometimes we might not need to isolate. Sometimes we're just about always going to find one end. So that step's always going to be there. So let's go to step 2 then, which is to isolate. So we're going to get rid of the 8. Well, we learned from last time that since we have 8 here, I'm going to take away 8 from both sides. Remember, our both sides row. We have whatever we do to one side, we do to the other side as well. So I'm going to take these 2 away. Now, 22 minus 8, that's 14. And 8 minus 8, well, that should be 0, except for the fact that this is a negative. And if you remember your rules for adding and subtracting integers, if I'm starting at a negative number and I'm taking something away, then my answer is actually going to get more negative, not less negative. And if my goal is to make this into 0, I've actually done the opposite thing. I've actually made it worse. Now my number is 16. Because I had negative 8 and I took away 8, which went further to the left down on the number line and gave me negative 16. So I actually haven't helped myself in any way here. I've, in fact, made the problem worse. My number here is bigger than it was before, or further away from 0 than it was before. So what are we going to do? Well, we have to remember the rules for positive and negative numbers. So what we're really going to do is we're going to stop making it worse by making it better. So let's try this again. Let's start over here. All right, we're going to start with the same problem. Again, we still don't need to collect. We have 6n minus 8 equals 22. Well, if subtracting 8 made it worse, what if we do the opposite? What if we instead add 8? Because if the goal is to get to 0, if I have negative 8 and the goal is to get to 0, then I really need to add 8. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. I have negative 8. I'm going to add 8 because negative 8 plus 8 is actually 0. So whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So 22 plus 8 is going to be 30. So negative 8 plus 8, that's 0, goes away. 22 plus 8, that's 30. So now my equation is 6n equals 30. Well, now I'm pretty close. Now I know that I can go to step 3, which is divide both sides by the number in front of the n, in this case 6. So 6n divided by 6, that's just 1n, and 30 divided by 6, well, that's 5. So as you can see, the steps are not any different. It's still collecting, still isolating, still just one n. The real trick is now that I've added negative numbers, you really need to pay attention to the fact is this a negative number? And if so, I'm going to add. Is this a positive number? And if so, then I'm going to subtract. All of today's are going to be negative numbers to kind of give you some practice at it, but in future lessons, you're going to have to pay attention. Have I gotten a positive number or a negative number? And you're really going to need to know how to do your integers, the adding and subtracting numbers, which is why we practiced before we got to this. All right, just like yesterday, I'm going to give you another problem to practice, and this time I want you to pause it, and I want you to see if you can do it yourself. So here is the problem. 6n plus 3n minus 9 plus 4 equals 67. So go ahead and pause and try to solve it yourself. Great. Now, when that you've unpaused it, you've solved it, let's see if you were right. So, step 1, I'm going to have to collect this time. I have a pile of n's, and I have a pile of not n's. I have 6n plus 3n, that's 9n. I have 9 plus 4. Well, that should be 13, right? But remember, this negative here is actually attached to this 9. So this is actually negative 9. It's a minus 9 and a negative. You can kind of wrap your head around that. It's both at the same time. So I have negative 9 plus 4. Well, negative 9 starts negative. Plus 4 gets me closer to 0, but not close enough to actually make it 0 or make it positive. So what I get is 9n minus 5, because negative 9 plus 4 gets me closer to 0, but not all the way, so I get negative 5. All right, step 2. Now I need to get rid of the negative 5. Well, the only way to get rid of the negative 5 is to, again, add some numbers. And we're going to add 5 to make it equal to 0. We want it to go away. 67 plus 5, well, that's 72. Remember, whatever we do on the left, we also do on the right. So now I'm left with 9n equals 72. I'm going to take this, I'm going to isolate it by dividing both sides by 9. 9 divided by 9, that's 1. They go away. 72 divided by 9, that is 8. I hope you got it right. I hope you did well. Again, remember, steps 1, 2, and 3 haven't really changed very much. The thing that you really need to pay attention to is this negative number, and that you're now going to add to get rid of the negative number. Good luck on your assignment.